Hi, everyone. Welcome to All Things Fulbright U.S. Student Program for RISD Artists and Designers. The Fulbright U.S. Student Program provides 6 to 12-month, fully funded grants abroad for graduating students and recent graduates to conduct individually designed creative research projects, enroll in graduate school, or teach English. I'm Lisa Kramer. I'm RISD's Fulbright Program Advisor, or FPA. Fulbright is an intense process. My job is to make it more exciting rather than overwhelming, and to help you understand the process and mission so you can learn and grow from each step. I'm here to help you at all stages of the application cycle to pull all the pieces together into a compelling proposal, no matter your discipline or project content. Fulbright is also a long process. To briefly outline the timeline, you will start working on this in the winter or spring, maybe even earlier. Things will intensify during the summer as you pull all the pieces together. You will submit early fall. Then the following spring, you are notified of the decision. Grants begin late summer or fall, a year after you submit it, or even the winter of the next year for some countries. Once you start the application process, the grant is a good year away. So if you're intending to apply this year, great. Consider that you can need to set time aside for Fulbright between spring through September. If you're interested in next year or the year after, also great. It is never too early to start thinking about a Fulbright grant. Some can pull this off in 5 to 6 months, but many take 1 to 2 years to develop their proposal. In any case, you are here now, and you will learn a great deal no matter how far you go in the Fulbright exploration. So what is Fulbright? Fulbright is an international educational exchange program with a mission to advance human knowledge and innovation, find solutions to complex global issues, and support peaceful relations between the United States and other nations. It was created by Congress in 1946. It is a U.S. Department of State grant. This is a U.S. government grant, which you should keep in mind as you consider your audience. It is administered in the U.S. by the Institute of International Education, IIE, and it is administered overseas by binational commissions and U.S. embassies. Both the needs and priorities of the host country and of the United States should be considered when crafting your application. It is also very important that you always keep in mind that Fulbright is at heart about meaningful cross-cultural exchange. This grant is open to graduating seniors and fifth-year students. You may begin the application process in your junior year or fourth year, but you won't be able to submit an application until the fall of your senior year or fifth year. It is open to graduate students and to recent graduates. Know that you can apply through RISD up to 3 years after graduation. You must be a U.S. citizen by the application deadline, have a bachelor's degree by the start of the grant, be proficient in the language of the host country, and have limited experience in the host country. Applicants who have had extensive recent experience in the host country or extensive foreign experience are eligible to apply, but may be at a competitive disadvantage. Plus, there are unique country-specific requirements. There are 2 main grants. The Study Research Grant, which is independent research, study, or arts projects abroad for 6 to 12 months, offered in 140 countries. English teaching assistantships are an opportunity for you to help teach English and U.S. culture in a classroom for 8 to 10 months, offered in 75 countries. I'm going to focus on the Study Research Grant, as that is what most RISD students are interested in. But know that we are happy to help you with an ETA application too. Keep in mind that an ETA opportunity comes with the expectation that you have experience in teaching, experience in working with non-native English speakers, specific teaching ideas and methods, and can make clear connections as to why teaching English will support your long-term goals. If you're applying for the Study Research Grant in the creative arts, you will need a well-developed project and/or study plan that improves your craft, which means art and design makings needs to be central in the study, research, and outcomes. You will need to make your case for participating, learning, and growing as an artist. You need to develop and document a host country affiliate relationship. This might be with a university, research think tank, lab, library, community organization, or a nonprofit, in which you receive mentorship and critique, maybe access to facilities or equipment. Perhaps you're taking a class or workshop. Plus, you could be supporting their research or class, or assisting in a production or a conference. You will need a compelling visual portfolio that supports your proposed grant activities. And consider that your portfolio will be reviewed by U.S. artists and designers and host country experts who are likely not all artists and designers. You need to include meaningful host country community engagement and have a high level of academic, professional, and/or artistic achievement, along with demonstrated leadership, flexibility, adaptability, and openness. What are the award benefits? Round-trip airfare, a monthly stipend, accident and sickness benefits, and other possible benefits depending on the host country. Once you return from a Fulbright experience, you will have gained new skills, perspectives, and insights that will influence you for the rest of your life. Along with Fulbright being a great opportunity to build your network overseas, advance your artistic practice and your career, and develop lifelong friendships. This delightful image is of RISD alum Ying and Christine meeting up in Seoul years after their Fulbright experiences. One of the most common questions about benefits is, can I defer my loans while I'm on a Fulbright grant for a year? And the answer is yes. What does a Fulbright project look like? It is so hard to define. There are so many variables, from your skills and interests to your affiliate's area of expertise, and there are 140 countries, each with their own interests and requirements. The possibilities are endless, but there are basically three broad types with lots of gray area in between. Independent study research is the traditional Fulbright award in which you design a project from beginning to end that allows you to work with people of the host country to mutually advance in your field of interest. Some countries offer graduate enrollment as an option. In this case, the program, activities, and outcomes are set. It's graduate study. However, this can be tricky as you have to make a strong case for this isn't just about being funding for graduate study. Why is this a Fulbright? What is a meaningful cross-cultural exchange? Why this country? How is this something you can't do in the US? It is important that you make a case for how your exploration goes beyond the institution of graduate study. And for most countries, you also have to be accepted to the university program, usually a separate process. This is what most RISD Fulbrighters do, hybrids. Most have some connection to a university, academy, or institution in which there is some sort of structured learning, perhaps as a guest student, plus some sort of independent mission, a burning question guiding their exploration. Usually to do this effectively, RISD applicants have secondary affiliates which get them out in their community exploring, practicing, and applying their skills and learning. Let's move on to the Fulbright resources. The Fulbright website is extensive. Everything you need is there. But because there's so much to navigate, I'm going to give you a tour and highlight the important pages for your review. First, be sure you're on the Fulbright US Student Program website, not the Fulbright Scholars website or a host country's Fulbright website. Make sure it says US Student at the top. Probably the most exciting pages are the country information and requirements found here by region. For example, let's look at the Philippines. Here you will find the award profile and grant length, anything in particular they are looking for in candidates such as discipline, area of focus, or degree level. Of course, you will want to check out the language requirement right away. Any restrictions or preferences on affiliation will be listed on this page. You will find helpful information on the award benefits, stipend, and cost of living. And you may find a link to the host country website with additional country-specific resources. You may even find an email to an actual human you can reach out to. Process information is found under the Applicants tab, Application Components. Choose the grant, Creative and Performing Arts, and here you will find each application component, with drop-downs that include considerable details with instructions and tips. Portfolio requirements are found here, and then one more click, the link to required materials will take you here, where you will find a drop-down for the requirements of each Fulbright discipline. You will have to choose a discipline. There is no multidiscipline option. It's not that you can't have a multidisciplinary practice or project, but because there are so many applicants, they have to put you in categories. So you will have to choose what best fits your project and consider your audience. The link to the online application, which opens in early April, is found here. Fulbright offers webinars April through October under the Applicants tab under Virtual Webinars. These are 1-hour sessions in which you will hear from Fulbright experts and hear questions from your peers around the country. It is important that you listen to at least a couple of these. I listen to 8 to 10 every year and learn a little something new each time. It is also important that you hear from Fulbright directly to confirm what I'm telling you and to provide you with new perspectives. If you see one you are really interested in but miss it, make note and then go to Recorded Webinars. Here you can listen to webinars of interest when you have time. I am often an applicant's first go-to, but know that Fulbright program officers who work for IIE are there to help too. Sometimes I don't know the country-specific answer. There are 140 countries, so it will be best for you to email or call the program officer directly. Their contact information can be found by going to Contacts in tiny white font at the bottom of the page. Also in tiny white font at the bottom of the page, you will find a link to another page of interesting statistics. You will find applications and awards for each country. I did the math here, and in 2025-2026 for the Czech Republic, 20% of the study research applicants were awarded, and 7% for New Zealand. By no means should statistics solely guide your choice. If you are passionate about a country and your project is a great fit for that country, don't look at the statistics. But if you are open, the statistics may help you make a decision. You may want to poke around in the statistics and consider a less competitive country. Obviously, English-speaking countries are the most competitive. The UK is by far the most competitive. If you speak another language, consider how that might be an advantage. If you don't speak another language, consider a country like Latvia or Norway with no language requirement, or Laos or Malaysia that have a more flexible language requirement. Learning some of the language is still important to these countries, but because their language is not commonly taught in the US, they are more flexible. Under the Alumni tab, you will find a grantee directory with Fulbright alumni across the country in all disciplines. There's not a lot of information on each Fulbrighter here, but the directory may give you some project idea leads or help you determine the country's interests, and maybe even lead you to someone to contact. Fulbrighters are often happy to talk to applicants about their experience. I did a search on sculpture in India, which resulted in 13 Fulbrighters, including RISD alum Lindsay Carone. She is one of RISD's 122 Fulbrighters who have explored their creative project in 50 different countries. When looking for Fulbright artists for inspiration or support, I suggest you start at the RISD Careers website. Scroll down to learn more about Fulbright, and then to the RISD Fulbright Showcase. You will get to a site of RISD Fulbrighters. There are 50 plus RISD Fulbrighters on this site, and stories you can read about their projects, and you can connect with them through their personal websites or see what they are up to on their Instagram. In the Experience Gallery, you can see some great photos of their lives and the people they worked with while on the Fulbright grant. And in the Artwork Gallery, you can see what they submitted to receive the grant or the results of their project. This website is a great place to go for inspiration and make connections. But for the nitty-gritty, how does this actually happen for RISD students? Go back to the Fulbright section of the RISD Careers website. There are two very important documents to guide your process: the checklist and deadlines, and getting started. First, though, consider, will you be applying through RISD? If enrolled or an alum who graduated in the past 3 years, you have the option to apply through RISD. But you are welcome to apply on your own, which Fulbright calls at large, and it is not seen as a disadvantage by Fulbright in any way. Know that the pro to applying through RISD is you will receive intensive support throughout the process. But the con may be you must follow RISD's internal deadlines, which do require applicants to meet a Kickstart deadline in May and have a close to complete application in mid-August in order to receive a campus review and interview. Our internal deadlines are in place so we can effectively, efficiently, and fairly support all of you through the process. But they're also in place for your benefit. We know from past experience that applicants who start late really struggle and then decide to wait until next year, which is fine. Lots of applicants have a false start and come back stronger than next year. This is RISD's checklist and deadline, which you saw earlier. This is just the first page of this document, a visual look at the deadline. This document goes on to provide additional milestones for each application component. This document will help guide your process. Be sure to check out this document on the website for exact dates, but know that the first deadline is the Kickstart meeting in May, where you confirm your intent and country choice, and we ensure you are ready to go. The second deadline is your first draft, due early June. In mid-August, you will lock your application for a RISD review of your entire application package and portfolio, and for the RISD interview. Keep in mind, summer can be very challenging considering that many countries have a culture of a long holiday in the summer, and holiday means a real break. You may find that affiliate contacts are not available, particularly mid-July to early September. And we strongly encourage you to send documents before the deadline. This will provide you with more time to redraft, incorporate feedback, fine-tune, and move on to your next draft or another application component. The second important document is the RISD Getting Started. You're going to want to jump into this document. This is the index page. The first thing you'll notice is that it's really long, but consider that this is a condensed version of everything for RISD artists and designers in one place, with guidance based on our experience working with many applicants over the years. This is your resource. Take the time to read it over once and then use it as a reference throughout the process. The RISD Getting Started document walks through each application component with detailed advice. Plus, it has valuable information on what makes you a strong candidate, what makes a competitive proposal. So, what are the components? Affiliation. Applicants must find and arrange their affiliations. Countries have specific requirements, but it is usually with a university, nonprofit, or research think tank. It cannot be with a for-profit company. Applicants must build a relationship and then document the nature of the relationship in a letter. Yes, this can be hard and take time. So start early. Just do it. Don't wait for the perfect draft or perfect project idea. Who your affiliate is, what they can offer, what would they like in return will affect your project ideas and proposal. You want to work with your affiliate to develop your project. There are tips in the Getting Started document to help your search and develop your affiliation. We also have an email outreach template and actual affiliate letters we can review with you during advising appointments. Purpose statement. This is a 6,000 character statement outlining all the details and purpose of your project. Do consider that less is more. One thoughtful idea will be more effective than many. The purpose statement needs to be a clear and straightforward plan. You need a focused, unique direction to get busy reviewers on board. How do you do this? There are a number of tools to get you started in project development and writing. In the RISD Getting Started document under the application component purpose statement, you can find these prompts to ensure you hit key content. This is in a sense, in a way, to interview yourself. You can use these prompts as headers to help you focus. And then as your drafts develop, you will delete and transition. In fact, I often use them as a checklist when I review your first draft. Feasibility is key. You will need a strong how plan section with details and a timeline. This will take up a good half of your character space. It is hard to imagine a project in another country that will take place in a year or more, but that is what you'll have to do. Imagine and know that it is okay if that plan changes. You need a plan to help reviewers understand and visualize what you want to do and to get out the door. There are 3 important essays addressing your preparedness and engagement. The first is flexibility and adaptability. You have 2,000 characters to talk about how you are prepared to adapt to working and living in another country. Here you can make the case for why you. You can show how you're prepared for this experience artistically, academically, and culturally, and you can speak to your trajectory and your room for growth. The second is community engagement. You have 2,000 characters to talk about how you engage with the people of the host community. This could be related to your project proposal, but it also could be something different. You can show another side of you and how you explore and get to know different people in the host country. And third, impact. 1,000 characters to consider how you will share your Fulbright experience with others and how a Fulbright experience will help you realize your future goals. For your narrative, consider in the Getting Started document the section on what makes a competitive proposal. For each of these green bullets, you will find a detailed description of what Fulbright is looking for. Read this now at the beginning and keep referring back to it as you develop your proposal. In addition, continue asking yourself the 2 big important questions. First, why this country? Beyond the institution you'll be working with, if you picked up this project for Singapore and moved it to Japan, is it the same thing? How is it unique to Singapore? Second, how will this experience improve your craft beyond inspiration or a new place to practice? What skills are you gaining to specifically improve your craft in this particular country? Language forms. Depending on the country, a language self-evaluation and a professional evaluation may be required or recommended. 3 recommendation letters are required. Choose wisely in terms of who will write a meaningful letter and who will be timely. At the application stage, official transcripts are required. Unofficial transcripts are required. So you will need to collect these documents, scan them neatly, and upload them into the application. The online application is really long and includes additional short answer essays. Start this early. This is not a last-minute thing. And be neat and consistent in both content and in formatting. You want to have a strong application package from beginning to end. And finally, portfolio. I have this last not because it isn't important. It is. It's extremely important. But you are the experts on this. You know how to do this well. I highly recommend you check out this 10-minute video found on the RISD Fulbright page. And here are a few pointers. Follow the instructions. How many? Size, resolution, minutes. Make your case with effective, high-quality images. Consider every image count. Every image should tell the story that supports your purpose and path. You can have some detail shots, maybe an installation shot, but no throwaways. And use collaged images sparingly. There can be a couple of collaged images where it makes sense, but too many is overwhelming and diminishes the look and feel of a whole piece as a single image. There really needs to be a reason for more than one view in an image. Otherwise, it seems like sneaking in additional pieces to gain an advantage. Make the connection to your grant project through your images. Your gallery-ready portfolio may not be the same as your project portfolio. Focus on the fit to your project. And consider your audience carefully. Your reviewers are not only artists. RISD Fulbrighter Drew Leventhal, whose discipline was photography, was interviewed as an Ireland semifinalist by a writer, a policy expert, and a dentist. Yep, a dentist. A great example of how important it is to develop an application that speaks to a varied audience. Use the image description space to help make your case. Not only title, size, and material, tell us more. This is your chance to make connections. This is your chance to show your preparedness, yet room for growth. This is your chance to tell your reviewers, especially your non-art reviewers, more about your process and ways of thinking. Take advantage of this space. Curate the order thoughtfully for a cohesive portfolio feel. A curated portfolio shows organized thinking and thoughtfulness. It shows you care about this opportunity. Be sure to start strong to capture their attention and make them want to see more. Be sure to end strong, as that last image will stay on their mind as they move to other parts of your application. And in a group review, that last image may stay up on the screen as they talk about your application. You want that image to be strong and connected to what you are proposing. A final tip, print each image you are considering on half sheets of paper and tape them to a wall. Stand back and really look at them, and then move them around to find that compelling flow. The final weeks can be fairly intense, so I'm going to walk you through the submission step. If you're applying through RISD, you will lock your application for an end-to-end review of your application package, including your portfolio. You want a complete application at this point. I then arrange your Fulbright RISD interview. Know that RISD is not a gatekeeper. RISD interviewers do not make decisions. The interview purpose is to help determine if the applicant is prepared to carry out their proposed project, and thrive in the host country. After your interview, you have a last chance for fine-tuning. This stage is up to you. You want to be careful to make select, very minor changes to strengthen. Reworking after months of work doesn't usually work out well. And then you submit. Art applications are first reviewed by U.S. experts by discipline, and semifinal decisions are announced in late January. Semifinalist applications then go to the host countries for review. The U.S. government approves final decisions. And then finalists are announced anytime between March and June. I've given you a lot of information and resources, but how do you get started? Grant writing is just as much about organization skills as it is project development. Develop organizational tools based on your style to keep track of your research, draft, and affiliate outreach, and set personal milestones to help you meet the deadlines. Review the country summary pages, which is really exciting, and it is important to find out early on if there are restrictions, preferences, or special requirements. Start drafting your purpose statement and essays early. The first draft, the commitment in writing, and the feedback you receive, this is when things really take off. Find help. Ask for help. This is a complicated grant. Find people who will support your application process. Meet with me, but not only me. I'm only one voice in this process. Find someone in your discipline to guide your research and content. Find someone to give you feedback on your image choices. Get a professor on board early in your process. Reach out to the RISD Center for Arts and Language. They are an excellent resource for brainstorming or fine-tuning your proposal. Make use of the incredible resources at the RISD Library. Talk to RISD Global about where RISD might have connections in your host country. A word of advice on getting help. Get advice early in the process rather than so much at the end. At the beginning, all voices are important. At the end, your voice is important. Last-minute advice is dangerous as it can really throw you off. Everyone will see something different. Well-intentioned advice can send you down a rabbit hole after months of hard work, and it is really hard to recover from that. Avoid getting help from professional editors or AI. Fulbright wants to hear from you with all your unique humanness. And 2 more resources for you. On the RISD Fulbright page, scroll down to tips from a RISD Fulbrighter. Click on Learn More, and you will go to a document full of excellent insights and tips from RISD Fulbrighter to the Philippines, Ben Allen, and RISD Fulbrighter to Brazil, Gail Foreman. I want to leave you with a reminder of the first deadlines. Schedule your Kickstart meeting to take place by mid-May. You can make an appointment with me on the RISD Careers website. At some point, depending on the applicant pool, I'm only open for appointments with those applying this year. But RISD Career Advisors, Jason and Scott and Audrey, will continue taking appointments for those interested in a future Fulbright application. First drafts are due early June. This is a draft, and there will be many more, but it should be a serious, thoughtful draft, not an outline, not bullets, and close to the character count limit and proof for typos and grammar errors. You don't have to have all the answers for the first draft. Start pretending and imagining. The more thoughtful your drafts are, the deeper I can go in my review to provide feedback that will help you take it to the next level. Be sure to check the checklist and deadlines on the RISD Fulbright webpage for the exact date. And finally, it will not be a waste of time. I want to emphasize what an amazing experience Fulbright is. This is an extremely competitive grant. It is important that you embark on this journey understanding that the process itself is a valuable experience, from the research to developing relationships overseas, to writing, to submitting. A Fulbright proposal is a lot of work, maybe the most intense proposal you'll ever write. After a Fulbright application, other grants might seem easy. I look forward to working with you. Thank you, everyone.